Hi Flosstube friends, welcome to my channel. My name is Chris. Today is Saturday, September 30th, 2023, and I am here to share my August and September stitching with you. I have a lot to cover today. I'm probably going to break this video up into 3 sections, so I'll pause and clean stuff up and then I'll move on to the next section. The first section I'm going to do a retreat recap for the retreat that I was at a couple of weekends ago. And then the second section, I'll talk about the things I've been stitching on. And then the third section will be some haul, what I've been sewing, and my plans. I don't have any fun finds from Instagram this month. I just have so much to cover today. I thought the video is probably going to be long enough as it is, but I'll definitely bring that segment back next month when I probably won't have quite as much content. That the video will probably be a little bit shorter and I can fit that in. So let's get started. We're going to start with my retreat recap. A couple weekends ago, I had the pleasure of attending the Hidden Stitchers retreat. It's a small retreat put on by a friend of mine. It's just a group of about 25 of us that are kind of become this group of stitchy friends. It's kind of a private retreat. You know, we just go to a, it runs as like a summer camp in the summer, but they also are open for groups to come for retreats. And it's just a really fun group of people, and it's just a great weekend away. We have a cook that cooks for us, so we don't have to drive anywhere, and it's just really relaxing and just an opportunity just to sit and stitch and visit with people that share your passion for stitching. So yeah, our retreat started on the Friday night, and we couldn't get into the retreat center till about 6 o'clock. So we had sort of arranged that those that could, we were going to meet early at a restaurant not too far from the retreat and have an early supper, so that when we got to the retreat, we could just settle in and start stitching right away. I think the first year that we did it, we did a potluck on the Friday night, but we found, because everybody doesn't arrive necessarily at the same time, and by the time you prep some food and get everything laid out, we weren't eating until quite late, like 8 o'clock, I think. And by the time you finish eating, it felt like a lot of the night was taken up with preparing food and eating food and cleaning up food, and we didn't have as much stitching time. So this seemed to work better to me, to have an early supper, and then we could just go to the retreat center and do what we were there to do, and that was just to hang out and stitch. So I did end up deciding there are some really nice quilt shops in that area. It's down near New Hamburg, Ontario. So a few friends and I decided we would meet up a little bit early at one of these quilt shops so that we could have a look around and see what was there. So the name of the shop is Heart and Home, and I'll link it in the description box down below if you're somebody local that wants to go check it out, that doesn't know about it. You might know about it. I think it's been there for a while, and it's a beautiful shop. They have like a ton of home decor items and a ton of beautiful fabric. The vibe is a little bit more prim. So just that, if you imagine that color palette and that style of fabric, and that's right up my alley. I love that that aesthetic, at least with my bag making. I enjoy sewing with those types of fabrics. So yeah, I was like a kid in a candy store, and it was just so fun to wander around that shop and look at everything that they had. So I did make a few purchases, so I thought I would share those with you now as I'm kind of going through our weekend. So one thing that they carried were a lot of the Lang products, and I have a calendar hanger that fits the Lang calendars, and I usually like to have a Susan Wingate calendar every year. So if you don't get them early, sometimes it's hard to find them in some of the shops that sell these calendars. So I saw that they had this one that I really like, and so I decided to purchase that. So I have it ready to go for 2024. I'll just show you again. I just really like her style of artwork. I think that's February's. Anyway, so pretty. So I'm happy to have that I can put in my calendar holder in January. And then I found these puzzles. Oh look, surprise, surprise, it's horses. This actually, I had first discovered this image as a diamond painting through Diamond Art Club, and I did debate getting it, but I never pulled the trigger. So when I saw that it was a puzzle, I love doing puzzles. I often, around Christmas or New Year's, will, you know, have a puzzle on the go. Although I'm a bit obsessive, and I shouldn't say on the go, because I usually finish it within 24 hours, if not within one sitting. But anyway, again, Susan Wingate artwork. I love this image. It's colorful. It's pretty. So I thought I would pick that up as a treat to myself, and I'll probably be working on that this holiday season. So those were the non-fabric things that I bought. I was a little bit overwhelmed with all the fabric because I wanted it all. And I hadn't gone in with a plan, which is probably a bad idea. So I think next year, because we're going to do the same thing next year, I think I'll maybe have more of a plan when I go in. But I ended up just, instead of buying fabric to make stuff for my Etsy shop, I decided just to buy some fabric for me to make some bags for myself. So the one combination I got, and I have to apologize because I don't know if I know who these lines are by. So if you have questions and you want to know what these fabrics are, let me know, and I'll track down, or maybe I'll even see if I can find out who it is, and if I can, I'll put it on the bottom of the screen here, and I'll maybe link it down below. So I got this one combination. So this is actually a Christmas fabric, but a subtle Christmas, and I just really like the color palette again, sort of these more muted tones. So I thought that was cute. I'd make myself a Christmas bag with that. And then I'd seen these fabrics before, and again, I'll look up what line it is in case you love it too and want some. But so I got these ones to make myself a dog themed bag. So this one's cute. It's this woof bark. That's basically it, I guess. So I thought those were cute. And that, I think, was everything that I bought at that shop. So then we headed back towards the restaurant, and actually across the road from the restaurant, there's another little quilt shop. It's a little more of a modern vibe. They had a lot of like Tulip Pink and Rifle Paper Co. And a friend that I was shopping with, who loves fabric as much as I do, she discovered this fabric. And I was kind of thinking about using this for a custom order, but because it's sort of got this Halloween vibe with the spider web and the skeleton, I didn't know if she would love that vibe. So I thought I'll just keep it and make some bags. So then I got the coordinating fabric, because this background, it looks black, but it's actually this deep sort of purpley color, so that crosshatch there sort of matches that. So I'll be making some bags out of that to put up in the shop. So that was all of the shopping that I did sort of before the retreat. So then we met up with a group of about maybe 15 more people, and had supper at a local restaurant, and that was fun, good food. And then a few of us went ahead to the retreat center with my friend Jenny, who is Jenny McStitcher here on YouTube. I'll link her channel down below, and sort of helped, start getting things set up, and set up tables and stuff like that, and chairs and things, so that when people started to arrive at 6, we were kind of ready to go. So yeah, everybody started arriving. We got settled in our rooms, and then sat down and started stitching. And so yeah, we stitched Friday night. So Saturday morning, there were a number of us that were vendors that were selling items. So I was selling some of my bag stuff. One of the vendors that was there was, pardon me, slightly over here, was Rolanda from Hand Dyed by Rolanda, and she does hand dyed fabrics and hand dyed flosses, but she also sells a lot of other stuff through her Etsy shop, which I'll link down below. So of course I had to get some linens. I did know that I wanted to get a 40 count because I have a project that I think I know how I want to finish it. And to make it the right size, I need a 40 count piece of fabric. So this is called Sahara. It's a 40 count linen. It's just so beautiful. That's what the modeling looks like. Just a nice neutral, warm tone. And then I discovered that Rolanda also had some opals. You can see the sparkle in there. So this one is called Silver Cloud. I think this is a new color for Rolanda. And I just thought it was a really pretty neutral. I have a series of charts by the Trilogy that are little trees. They're kind of like little stick trees in a way. And there's one for a lot of the different holidays or the different seasons. And I think when I had first seen one stitched up, it was on an opal. So I always had it in the back of my mind that I'd like to stitch the whole series on the opals. So I thought this might be an option because it will work with any color palette. So I got that to try. So I've never stitched an opal before, so that'll be a first. And then she also had this opal. And these are both 32s, I think. Oh, sorry, 28. This one's a 28. My apologies. This one's a 28. And this one is a 32. And this one's called Wren. And I just thought that was such a pretty color. So I'll find something someday to put on that. So those were my purchases at the retreat. And then, oh, I forgot to, I should have probably shared first that we got a retreat bag, a goodie bag. And there was a number of things in there. So this was one of the things in our retreat bag. So it's this little wooden plaque. And then there were these wooden beads and this twine. And so this was a project that Jenny had put together for us where she showed us how like you could decoupage. And she had all these different scrapbook fabrics that you could decoupage on the front of this. And then she gave us a bunch of ideas that you could use it to put a finished cross-stitch piece on and hang it up because it does have a hanging cord on the back. Or she even said, you know, like it could be like a trivet that you could use it to put, you know, your coffee mug or whatever on as well. So yeah, so she had like a station set up on Saturday that everybody that wanted to do the decoupage could do that. A lot of people were having fun with that. I elected not to do it at the retreat because I was invested in a project, which I'll show you a little bit, that I was pushing for a finish. And I have lots of scrapbooking paper at home, so I thought, oh, I'll just run with Jenny's idea and I'll do that at home and then I can finish a piece on there. So that's a lot of fun. And then she showed us how to use these beads that you could make like a zipper pull if you wanted to, or scissor fob as well. And then the other thing that Jenny gave us all was our goodie bag. So this is the retreat bag. They look like this. This is a William Morris fabric inspired fabric line. And there's 3 different colorways. I'll show you the others in a little bit here, but this was the blue colorway that I got for my bag. And then inside here, so these are thread beds. And these actually I made because Jenny had commissioned me to make the retreat bag. So there was some leftover fabrics that Jenny gifted those to me, so I decided to make some thread beds for everybody's retreat bag. And so they just have the fleece here and this little piece of felt to put your needle on if you want. And then yeah, you just set them on your table, put your threads on there. You can just put them together, snap them up, and just keep everything in there if you want. But the other really fun thing that Jenny gifted us with in our goodie bag is this pattern. So this is by Pansy Patch Quilts and Stitchery. And it's called Stitcher's Retreat House. And it says, where friendships are formed with needle and thread. And it shows two girls there under the sign that says Retreat House. How pretty is that? So we're actually doing a stitch along. I'll put the hashtag down below. I think it's hashtag Hidden Stitchers Sal maybe, but as I say, I'll put it down below once I double check that. That people are posting on Instagram as they stitch this. So that's kind of fun. I haven't started mine yet, but I will be kitting it up soon to get it started in the near future. So that was our retreat bag. Let me just see if I've missed anything else. So we've done the fabrics, the puzzle, the linens. Oh, so the other thing we did on Saturday was a smalls exchange. And yeah, so I decided for my smalls exchange that I wanted to try a, I'm calling it a jam jar finish. So the first time I saw this finish was on Ryan's channel, Ry McGuy, and I'll link his YouTube down below. He's also Ry McGuy on Instagram. And he had finished one of Jeanette Douglas's little monthly bouquets. I think it was a stitch along she offered last year. He had stitched one of hers and finished it in one of these little jam jars. So I had chatted with him a little bit about some details of that. So he inspired me, and I decided when I was going to do my small for this retreat that I wanted to try doing this jam jar finish. So I'm going to put a picture in here of what the one looked like that I gifted in my smalls exchange. So it's this fun little cat silhouette, which actually the cat isn't stitched. She just stitched the pumpkin around the cat. And I will, again, forgive me, I'm not very prepared. The designer of the pattern, I'll put her name down here in the bottom of the screen and I'll link it down below. She has a lot of fun little patterns like that. She has another one like that, that's a bat. But it was like the perfect size to do for this jam jar finish. So I stitched that and I put some chocolates in it. And I also made like a little vinyl front notions pouch with a black cat on the back that I also tucked in the bag with that as well. So that was what I did for smalls exchange. So I wanted to try the jam jar finish first before I did the one I was gonna gift. So this is the one that I did. So this is a Doreen Jones. This is her new, I think one of her newer patterns that she just put out this fall. And this is just part of the pattern. It actually is like a hardanger type project, like there's some hardanger around this, but I just wanted to make this little fox and try and get him to fit in the right size. So you can see he sort of is puffed up a little bit. So my thought was like he could be like a spot to put your needles, and I actually made him that he can pop out of here. I put some felt on the back. So then I was setting him on the table just to stick my needles in, and then I put the lid on just so there's a bit of a lip there, and was using it as a place to put all my thread ends. Actually, I was sharing it with people at my table. We were all putting our thread ends in there. So it became like a little work container. So yeah, so that's the jam jar finish inspired by Ry McGuy. And I was pretty happy with how it turned out. So that's what I gave as my smalls exchange. And so then what I received, we did open it up that if people were busy and didn't have the time to stitch something, they also had the option to use something that wasn't stitched, but cross-stitch related as an alternative. They just had to mark their bag that it was a non-stitched item type of thing. So I decided that I was going to pick one that wasn't stitched just for the fun. And I was so lucky because I got the one that Rolanda brought. So, of course, here are some of Rolanda's beautiful hand-dyed threads. Sorry about the glare, but she's just got everything so neatly packed in here. I didn't want to pull it all out, but I don't know if you can see those. Okay, I'll take them out because they're so pretty you need to see them. But So this package also has these little tail end weavers, you know, that you can use to slide under your threads to grab your tail and pull it through. And then there was the little frog needle minder. And then behind here, there's a snag nabbit. But pardon the crinkle and all. Pull these beautiful threads out so that you can see them. Oh, then they're in their own package. Here we go. So I think this is like a Halloween type bundle that she has done. So pretty. Her fabric and threads are just gorgeous. But that was not all that was in my little gift, because the other fun thing, and this was funny, was this little personal fan. And Rolanda actually had one of these that she had brought herself, because it did get a little bit warm in the room at one point on Saturday. And so yeah, so she had this little fan going, but it's really sweet because it's actually USB charged. So I guess you could set it at your computer too and just have it plugged in. But so it's rechargeable. So it's a great thing to take to a retreat. And it's actually incredibly quiet. So it's not making like an annoying loud noise when it's running. So that's fun. Let's put that down there. So then I think the last thing that I have, no, I have two more things I'm going to show you. So the other fun thing we did were door prizes. And Jenny was so sweet and generous, and she had a door prize for everybody. So nobody went home without a door prize. So all 25 of us got something to bring home. And she just sort of drew names, and we went up and everything was wrapped and you just pick something. So I ended up picking this beautiful handmade scissor stand. So there's room for 6 pairs of scissors in here. I'll just put these guys in here for now. That is just so pretty and so well made. So Jenny's husband actually made this. I think there was 3 of these that he made, and then some other items that he made. So yeah, so I was happy to get that. And then the last thing was we did have a freebie table. So I'll just show you the few things. I just picked up a few things off the freebie table. So I don't do any quilting, but it's certainly something that intrigues me. And obviously I do some quilting on my bags that I make, but I've never done any official quilting. But somebody had put this really adorable cat quilt pattern on the freebie table. So I thought, well, if I ever made a quilt, that might be one that I might try. So, or maybe, you know, I just make a quilt square with the cat in it and put it on a bag or something. But so I thought I would try that. And I'm guessing from perhaps the same person, because I did not see who put these on the table, but there was also this one. It's Raining Cats and Dogs. And there are a lot of really adorable patterns in here. Look at those 2 cats. So again, lots of inspiration, lots of ideas, maybe a good place to start, I'm not sure. But so I picked those up. And then the other 2 things that I got, one was this this imaginating chart. Let's Be Frozen. And it's this really pretty snow globe with all these winter words. So I thought that was pretty. And then somebody put this kit. And you know my weakness for kits. And I just thought it was a really unique artistic perspective, you know, looking at the backs of those white cats with the dark window or doorway in front of them. See? So though that was all of my stuff from retreat. So yeah, so we stitched all day Saturday, did smalls exchange, all that, did the shopping, and then Sunday we just stitched all morning, had a really nice lunch, stitched a little bit, but I think we were scheduled to leave around 2, so most people after lunch started to pack up and people started to trickle out. So yeah, it was a wonderful weekend and I had so much fun. Can't wait to do it again. So if you ever have an opportunity to attend a retreat, I highly recommend it. So I'm going to pause for a minute. I'm gonna clean this stuff up out of the way to make some more room, and then I'm gonna grab my whips and we'll go over my stitching. Okay, I'm back. So let's talk about whips. So what have I worked on in the last 2 months? Worked on a few things, but I probably worked a lot on a few things, especially one thing, but we'll get to that. So I'm going to start with, I actually had a new start when I was at the retreat. And what it was the Stitching Book Club's Anne of Green Gables sal. So I'll put a picture in here because the entire sal has been released. So this is what it will look like when it's finished. And I have just started on this. I didn't start when the actual Stitch Along started. I just started it the weekend that I was at the retreat. And this is how far I've gotten. So just the top little corner up there. So this is a piece, I believe it's 18 count. It's a light yellow Ada. That's looking pretty true, I think, in the camera. And it's all DMC threads. It's a really, really pretty color palette. And this was actually a gift from my friend Barb. Hey Barb. And she gifted me the pattern and the fabric and the flosses so that we could stitch this together. So yeah, how are you doing, Barb? Are you a lot farther ahead than I am? This is where I am so far. And yeah, so I'm enjoying stitching that, and I'm looking forward to getting more done on that. The other thing I stitched a little bit on since I last saw you was my temperature chart. I'll put a picture of where it was the last time you would have seen it. So each of these little hearts is the high temperature for one day this year. And this way. This is where I am right now. So I am not caught up. I was going to work on this last weekend. I usually work on it on Sundays, but the website that I go to get my temperatures from had was down, or something wasn't working. I don't know if they lost data or something, but they said they were trying to get things up and running again. So I thought, well, I'll wait another week and see if they've sorted it out, and if they haven't, then I'll have to find another source to get my temperatures from. But so I do have a little bit of catching up to do on that, but that's where that one is at so far. And then I did do one other sort of weekend random stitch that wasn't one of my focus projects, and that was the pattern Whip It by Awesome Pattern Studio. This is what it will look like when it is finished. Now I've done color conversion. So this is what mine would have looked like the last time that you saw it. And this is where it is now. It's a little bit more down on his face. I'm getting down towards his nose there. So he's coming along. So yeah, I converted from the pinks and purples to more natural colors, the browns and grays and tans. I left all the highlights and things and lowlights the same because I didn't want to change the overall look of the pattern. So that's Whip It by Awesome Pattern Studio. This is a 28 count mystery linen. I'm wondering if it's an old Weeks because it's really, really loose. But yeah, it's just a nice neutral background. And those are all the called for DMCs. Sorry, not the called for because I did a conversion, but it's all DMC threads. Okay, so let's get on to some focus projects. So my small focus project, the last time I saw you back in July, the last time anyway, that I talked about focus projects, my small was the Year in Chalk series by Kathy Haberman, or Hands-On Design. And if you saw my last video about that, I had completed 10 of the 12 months and I had 2 months left to do. I'm happy to report that I have finished all of them now. So I thought I would just quickly show you each month. So this is January. Let it snow. This is February. You Hold My Heart. This is March. May Luck Be Yours. This is April. Hello Spring. I watch Helen D's channel, and I know she has stitched a few of these, at least two. I know this is one of them. And she's changed the colors, and she's done them on not dark fabrics, and they look really cool. So you should check out Helen's channel. I'll link it down below. So what was that? That was April. This is May. Plant Seeds of Joy. This is June. Catch a Wave. This is July. Red, White, and Barbecue. So I should mention this is a 32 count gunmetal by Weeks Dye Works. Most of these are stitched with B5200 for the white. I did start with the Weeks Dye Works. Whoever does chalk. It might have been Gentle Arts chalk. And then I just picked flosses from my stash to do the colored part, just ones I thought kind of matched. If I had the called for, I would use it, but a lot of times I didn't, so I just sort of came up with something else. So this is August. This is one of the ones that I did since you last saw me, or last saw this series. Sleep Under the Stars. And September, this is the other one that I finished. Summer Don't Go, with those adorable little lightning bugs. That was fun to stitch. This is October, Boo, Let Them Eat Candy. This is November, Thankful and Grateful. And December, Peace on Earth and Joy. So that series is finished, and I'm going to probably finish it similar to what Kathy had done when it first came out, is have like a little clipboard, and I'll just finish them all on some map board, and then each month switch them out. So that was my small focus project. So then I had to pick a new small focus project. So I went to my next oldest in that category, which happens to be Tellin' Emblems, Leaves of Love Clematis. I've stitched a companion piece to this as well. I'll put a photo in here where it would have been the last time that you saw it. I'm stitching this on, I believe it's a 32 count. I can double check. It's a 28 count black Joblin with the called for DMC. So this is where this is now. So yeah, it's coming along. Hoping to have it done fairly soon. There's kind of a weird blank spot at the top because that's where the bird goes, and I'm saving the bird till the last because the bird's my favorite part. It's a critter after all. So I like to save my favorite part till the end to keep me motivated to keep stitching. So that is Tellin' Emblems, Leaves of Love. So then my medium focus project, the last time you would have seen that was my Gifts for All stocking, which I finished. If you want to see that finish, you can check out that video. I believe it's probably the thumbnail for the video, the stocking. So I had to pick a new medium focus project. So the next oldest one in that category that I want to get done, woo, I'm spoiling the fun, is the DMC chart that I have done by the designer Men on Wool, I think it is, and all these details are listed in the description box down below. But if you have any questions, feel free to leave me a comment. But this is what it will look like when it's finished. So basically it's like the DMC color chart, but you're actually stitching it. So, and I thought it would be a fun project and a nice reference to have. So I'll put a picture in here of where it was the last time you saw it. And then here, is where it is now. So I have a few more columns. 3 more, maybe? So there are 20, so I have 8 more to go still. It's a pretty big piece. So, yeah, so that's kind of fun. I already used it once when I was stitching my Smalls Exchange. The 2 greens that were called from the pattern seemed like there's too much contrast between them. So I used this to pick a different green. So it came in handy already. Luckily I'd done the greens already, so. So then my large focus project was my behind the bit, which is finished. But I'm gonna make you wait a little bit longer because I'm gonna talk about what's taken its place. So I finished behind the bit. I finished it when I was at the retreat. So that was fun because, you know, obviously other stitchers are there to cheer you on. My friends at my table were so cute because they were, you know, encouraging me and keeping me going. And some people stayed up because they wanted to see the actual finish of it. So they were like, how many stitches now? How many stitches now? Because I was using Pattern Keeper so that we could count down. So that was fun. So I'm going to show you him in a minute. I just want to save the best for last, so to speak. So since I finished him, I had to go to my next, I had to pick another large project for that category. And the one that I picked for that, or the one, it's basically, it's my next oldest whip in that category because I'm trying to get these older whips completed so that I can move on to more new things. So it is this pattern. It's charted by Artisy. It's based on the artwork of Leonid Afremov, and it's called Walk with Dog. So I started this project a while ago, and I started it on an 18 count Ada. So this is what it looks like. And what I was starting to find was there's so many color changes. The way that I normally stitch a full coverage, which I know, call me crazy, but I work within a column, roughly within a column, but I work line by line. So I stitch the 10 stitches in that line, and like, if there's no more stitches in that line of a color, I park it wherever it next shows up, and then I go to the next line. And for me, that just, I find my stitches just look neater doing that rather than, excuse me, he likes to scratch the mat before he lays down. But so yeah, I think when I first started doing full coverage, I would work within, you know, the 10 by 10 block and stitch all of one color and then the next color. But what I was finding, especially if you're stitching with 2 threads at 18 count, it could start to get really cramped and bunched up a little bit. So I started doing that line by line, and I feel it makes my stitches nice and neat. And that worked great on behind the bit because it's got confetti, but it's got a lot of solid color as well. But trying to stitch this one that way, it just takes forever. And this project is bigger than behind the bit. So I was trying to, you know, try some of the other stitching techniques or patterns or whatever you want to call them to see if I could speed up my stitching. So that's when I decided to stitch within the column still, but like pick a color and stitch it all the way through the column until it completed. And then I even sort of finished out some of my threads down farther on the next page. But again, because I'm on 18 count and I'm using 2 threads, which I love, like I love the coverage and I love the boldness of the colors. I don't mind the chunkiness of it. But trying to stitch it that way, again, like this area here, I don't know if you can see, but the stitches are kind of distorted and it's kind of, again, bunched up and it feels different than the other stitches. And I didn't like that at all. So when I went back up here, I went back to my normal way of stitching and it's much flatter and neater. But again, I thought the other one took me a long time to stitch. This one's bigger and I have a lot of other really large projects that I want to stitch. So I really wanted to try and find a way to stitch it quicker. So I elected to try doing the 25 count 1/1 like I'm doing with my Cute Kitten pattern. And I'm much happier with that. The stitches look much better and it's much quicker to stitch. So I think I'm going to keep going if I do this. So forgive me the way this looks, because this is how I stitch. I am stitching this in a hoop because I'm doing 1/1. I am using all these needle minders to keep track of all my different parked threads. And I have chosen this brown 25 count. Number one, I had it in my stash. And number two, I thought there are a lot of dark colors in this pattern. And that way, I'm hoping there would be like less white showing through. Sometimes I feel it's not as vibrant as it is on the white. But I don't think that's fair because the white has more of those bright colors down lower, right? The yellow and the teal. So if you look at the colors up in that corner, I think it's pretty comparable. And the stitches definitely look neater. And the other thing I debated when I was trying to decide whether I was going to switch to the 25 count 1/1 was obviously it's going to be quite a bit smaller, and it's a beautiful piece of art. You know, it's like, do I want it to be small? Wouldn't I rather have it big? So it's like this statement piece on your wall. But I also know I've seen some things people have stitched on higher count fabric. So one was a small that my friend Jenny did at the retreat, and I forget, it was like it was an uneven, so I don't know if Jenny said it was a 52, 56, and the stitches were like so small and so beautiful, and it was just like, you couldn't stop staring at it because it just looked so beautiful. So I'm thinking, so even if this is smaller, I think it's still going to be really beautiful and it will draw people in. And I certainly, when I frame it, could frame it with a wide, chunky white mat, you know, to make the overall picture on the wall bigger, and just you'd have this beautiful little scene in the middle. So I keep waffling and going back and forth, but I'm really enjoying the way I'm stitching it on this 25 count, the 1/1. So I'm pretty sure this is the way I'm going to keep going. But so that's a long way of saying this is my new large focus project that I'm going to be working on. So that only leaves us with my finish. So are you ready to see behind the bit? I'm going to pause you just for a minute while I grab them. Okay, I'm back. So I am going to put a picture in here of where he was the last time you would have seen him, just so you have a reference. And here he is now. Isn't he pretty? He's so cool. Everybody was saying about how realistic he looks. Yeah. So there he is. So I'm going to take him in. We have a local framing shop. I'm going to take him down there and get a quote for framing, and then I might go to Michael's as well, because we have a local Michael's, and get a quote for framing him there, and figure out what I'm going to do. So hopefully you'll see him framed at some point in the future. I don't know if it'll be by next month, but hopefully soon. So that is it for all of my whips. So I'm going to pause you again, and I'm going to grab the rest of the stuff I want to share, and we'll wrap this up. Be back in a minute. Okay, I'm back. So next I'm going to share with you what I've been sewing. So as I said, I was doing a lot of sewing this summer, and some of that was the retreat goodie bags, and some was stuff that I was sewing to take with me to sell. And then I had some other custom order stuff that I was working on as well. So I had mentioned, I'd shown you my retreat bag, which was the blue colorway of that fabric. So it also came in sort of this black charcoal. So this is a Notions pouch that I made with that fabric, just with a light interior. And then there was a red colorway. Same idea. favorite fabric inside. So I made the full fabric ones, and then these are the vinyl front ones that I made. So there's a red and a black. I did have some of these in the blue colorway, but they all sold at the retreat or since. Yeah, and unfortunately, I did have somebody reach out to me wondering if I had any more of that fabric, but I do not. We kind of just bought what we needed to make the retreat bags, and there was just that little bit left over that, as I say, Jenny gifted me, and I was able to make a few more things. So I did have enough too that I made one full fabric bag. Actually, I made two, but one sold. So that's what this guy looks like. I put this twill tape on there. That's the back. And then the lining of this one has like a creamy with a blue pattern on it. And then I tried making something new. I decided to try making floss sleeves. I forgot to bring the floss to show you, so just 1 minute. Okay, I'm back. While I was down there, I found this. So this is the same as the little zippered notions pouch that I put in with my Smalls exchange that I showed you before with the little cat. So I had a cat theme going. So these are floss sleeves. I had not been introduced to floss sleeves until I was watching Dina at Half Stitch Cross Stitch. Hi Dina. Dina's a friend of mine. I met her at StitchCon 2019. But she had made some of these as gifts for some friends when she was going to a retreat. So basically you just open them up like that. And if you're somebody that likes to put your threads on if you like to use thread drops and use a thread ring, you can just drop your flosses down in there. And then when you do the snap, then it just kind of holds it in there. And the idea being that then when you put this in your project bag, your flosses all stay contained within there. So they're less likely to get tangled, snagged, dirty, sort of thing. So this is, I'm calling this a closed bottom. So it's completely enclosed, which I kind of like because I feel like everything is like safer and more contained. But I did realize when I was making them that if you had a project with a lot of colors, it would be really hard and probably annoying to try and drop it down in there. So I also made some with an open bottom. So the idea then is that you can put your hand down inside, grab your ring, and pull it up and snap it in. So then they're in there. Now your bottom is still open, and if you have longer lengths of floss, again, they're going to be hanging out here, but they should still be fairly controlled in there. So yeah, so those are some floss sleeves. Thank you, Dina, for the idea, the inspiration, and you also shared your dimensions with me. So I have it in the red colorway as well. So I have a few of those left in the shop. And then I just wanted to share with you, because I love this fabric so much, I did make a number of bags using this pumpkin fabric. It's called Harvest Wishes. I'm trying to remember who the manufacturer is, but I will put that information down below. There's all these beautiful, I love this dark blue, and with the lighter blue and that yellowy orange, it's just so perfect. Just sort of a white interior. So I have a few of these in different color combinations in the shop, and then I do have a few notions pouches in that same colorway in there. This one's got a fun orange check lining. So that is what I have been sewing. So last thing I just want to share is a little bit of haul. So one thing that I did end up getting, if you've watched some of my older videos, you maybe know I have recently implemented a pip and chip storage system to store my DMC floss. There is a video, I'll link it down below if you're interested in seeing that. But I did see recently that they came out with, well, they're always coming out with new things. But one of the things they came out with are the foam inserts that fit in this storage container. I'm trying to remember what the name of the really useful box is, what they're called. So I think this is like an A4 container, they call it. Depends on where you live, so if this is something you're interested in, make sure you double check what size your containers are. I just picked this container up at Staples, it wasn't that expensive. And then I ordered the foam insert from Pip and Chip and had it shipped to me. And so yeah, it just basically has the slots to put your bobbins in. So these are my colors for Walk with Dog. They make them, this one is sort of for the standard plastic DMC type bobbins, but they make them for their Pip and Chip bobbins, so the slits are wider to fit their 3mm wide bobbins. But I wanted this for my bigger full coverages because I get tired when they're in just the plastic boxes and you pull a color and all the other ones in that little compartment sort of fall down and some slide underneath, and then you're trying to put it back in. I found I was spending a lot of time trying to put bobbins back in, and I was finding that frustrating. So I love this idea that they're all standing up. I can easily find them. I can put them back right where they belong, and it's been working really nice for me. So, and then it's big enough that I actually just tuck my my hoop in there when I'm not stitching, so it's safe away from the cat or the dog, and then I just put the lid back on and you're ready to go, kind of thing. So that was my purchase from Pip and Chip. Basically, I purchased the foam insert from Pip and Chip. I purchased the container from Staples. And then I was shopping on the buy and sell group a little bit more. I have a problem, people. If anybody has a support group, let me know. I'll join. So one of the first things I found was this hummingbird trivet. So it's actually like a plastic trivet, and it comes with this pattern. I believe the flosses are in there. I haven't actually opened it, so I assume the fabric and flosses are in there. If not, they're just all DMCs, so. But I thought this would be like a nice companion piece to the wall hanging that I made for my mother-in-law. So I think I might stitch this for her for this Christmas. Shh, Darlene, if you're watching, don't tell her. And then I found this pattern. So this is, I think, charts by Barbara and Cheryl, I think, maybe. But this is Sunshine and Shadow, and I saw Brian at Blitz Stitch. I'll link his channel down below. He's stitching this, and I just love I'm a sucker for how something makes me feel when I look at it. And this just is warm and inviting and homey and comforting to me. And I've always really admired this whenever I see him show it on his channel. But it's not an easy to find, well, I don't think it's out of print, but you can occasionally, I think, find it at some cross-stitch shops. But I've never stumbled across it. And I think I did find it online, but it was a US shop. And I think by the time I bought the chart and the shipping, I wasn't sure how badly I needed it. But this seller was selling it for a really good price, and she's here in Canada, so the shipping was really inexpensive, and I thought, well, that's my opportunity. So Sunshine and Shadow, another full coverage I look forward to stitching in some lifetime in the future. And then I found somebody else that was destashing a bunch of dimensions kits on the buy and sell group. And I saw one that I haven't seen very often, but the first time I saw it, I thought it was beautiful. And I went looking for it, and I couldn't find it, like, anywhere. Again, I believe it's out of print. So this is called Summer's End, and I just love the colors and the light in this. And she was offering it for a good price, so I decided to get it while I could. And then I've always looked at this one, which is like the companion piece in my mind. And I've seen this stitched up at our local fall fair one time, and it was just beautiful. And so I've always admired it and thought about getting it. And you can actually buy it like on Amazon and stuff. But she actually, as you can see, the packaging is yellowed. So she was selling it for a really good price. And everything inside is fine, which she stated. I've opened it and looked at it, and yeah, the fabric's not yellowed. It's just, for some reason, the plastic's yellowed. So yeah, so I've got those two. And then the last one is one of the ones that's been on my wish list for a really long time. I believe the first time I ever saw this was when Christine, Calico Whimsy, hi Christine, was stitching it, and I fell in love with it, and I've been looking for it ever since, and I finally found it, and she was offering it, the same seller. She's very sweet. She's offering it for a really good price, and it's Marineful. My daughter says to me, oh, that's like a really fall feel. I think you should start that now because it's fall. Like, going, don't twist my arm because it won't take much to make me start it. But anyway, so now I have it when I am ready to start it. So that is my haul, and I'm thrilled with everything that I've found in the last couple of months. So thank you for sticking with me. The last thing I'm just going to share is my plans, which aren't terribly exciting. I am just going to continue what I've been doing because it seems to really be working. So I'm just going to keep working on my 4 focus projects. My small, which is Leaves of Love by Tell Emblem. My medium, which is my DMC chart. And then my large, which is my Walk with Dog. Now, I had talked at one time, because I have 2, I do like small, large, medium, large, so that my larges get a little bit more time. And I had talked at one time about maybe working on 2 larges concurrently, so one week, one the other week. But when I was working on Behind the Bit, I wanted to give it both of those weeks because I really wanted to get it finished. So I'm really having fun working on Walk with Dog on the 25 count, and I kind of want to at least try and catch up to where I was before. So I think I will maybe keep doing it the 2 weeks, but if I start finding I'm getting a little bit tired of it, working on that particular pattern, you know, especially on the 25 count when the stitches are so small and stuff, then I may add in a second large one the second week. But I'm leaving, I'll just play it by ear and see how that goes. Tune in next month, you'll see what I've decided to do. So, but yeah, I think that is everything I have to share with you. Thank you for hanging in if you're still here. I really appreciate everybody that takes the time to sit down with me and let me share my stitching with you. I know there are a lot of people making Flosstube videos out there and so much great content. So again, I appreciate anybody that chooses little me to share some time with and spend some time with. I enjoy visiting with everybody. So thank you, everybody, new and old. You know, I certainly appreciate you. And I will be back next month to share some more. So thanks so much. Bye.
Paper.
Is she rubbing on the dog's feet?
nice today.